If it's Monday, you know I'm going to start with my NFL recap. In fact, let me start off the Week 14. Hey, can I stop right there before I start with anything? Week 14. Man, how fast is this NFL season going? The Week 14 recap, let me start it off with a fact and a warning. Fact, Patrick Mahomes is a very good football player. Fact, Mahomes is very good at football. Very, very good at football. Here is your warning. I've never been more convinced that Kansas City is going to repeat as champs than I am right now. There are other teams that I like. Some teams that I like a lot, which I'll get to. Except the thing about Kansas City is they just find a way, right? I mean, it's not like they dominated yesterday. It's not because of how well they played against Miami yesterday, because they certainly were not perfect. In fact, far from it. In the first 20 minutes especially. In fact, they weren't even good. They were flat out bad. Bad. Mahomes was a big reason for that, too. He had 2 picks. He had 2 sacks, including this on 3rd and 12 on their first possession. Credit CBS. That's a 30-yard sack. That is some New York Jets bleep right there. Not defending champion bleep. New York Jets bleep. So for the first 20 minutes, they were bad. I mean, really freaking bad. But then came the next 20. Touchdown run, touchdown pass, punt return TD, safety. In other words, from down 10-0 to leading 30-10. And it happened that fast. Mahomes playing poorly. You've got them down double digits, 1/3 of the way through the game, and you think, today is our day. We're going to get it done. We're going to win this game. And then all of a sudden, the Chiefs just wake the hell up. They throw the switch, and suddenly you're down 20 with less than 1/3 of the game to go, and you have no idea what the hell just happened. You go from forcing Mahomes into chucking a pair of picks and taking 30-yard sacks to giving up 30 straight points. Like, they can hit you like the Golden State Warriors did back in the day and then flip a game in a matter of minutes. They did it in the playoffs, they did it in the Super Bowl, and they're doing it again this year. So, if you want to beat KC, you better prepare to come to work for every single second of the 60 minutes and maybe on into overtime. Good luck with that. KC is so good, and that play was a joke. A one-arm pick at the front of the end zone. That's the INT of the year right there. Or at least it was until Colts DB Kenny Moore actually one-upped him. The only way you can beat a one-arm grab on the goal line is with a one-handed grab in the end zone. That's not just the pick of the year. That is the pick of just about any year. That's the pick of just about any decade. A hell of a pick. And this was a hell of a catch from Detroit's Marvin Jones. I know the officials had ruled that an incomplete pass, but that's going down in my book as a catch. That's a catch. Because you know what's an awesome topic? Debating whether something is or is not a catch. So great to have that bad old days of that argument back again. Couldn't wait for that to come back. So no, I've never been more confident that KC is going to repeat than I am right now. I'm also never more confident than I am right now that Washington's Chase Young is going to be the Defensive Rookie of the Year. In fact, after seeing yesterday's game, I'm ready to give him that trophy right now. Against the 49ers yesterday, he had 6 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble. That is the truth, too. Washington radio. That is a very, very large man running very, very fast towards the end zone and carrying that ball like a loaf of bread. Normally, I would warn a guy about carrying a football like that, but this guy's hands are so huge, it doesn't even matter. Remember a minute or two ago as well when people started to talk about Joe Judge as a possible Coach of the Year candidate, or Joe Judge as the next candidate to be Bill Parcells Jr., or Bill Belichick Jr., or Vince Lombardi Jr., or all of them rolled into one Jr.? I do. Because as I stated on the NFL Today yesterday, all that Judge hype was maybe a little bit much given who the Giants have played this year, given who they've beaten this year. I mean, yes, they have won 4 in a row, or had, after that 1-7 start. So credit for not completely shutting down and going into the tank when others may have. But then again, isn't that what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to continue competing. As long as the checks are not rubberizing, you need to keep coming to work and doing your job. So that Joe Judge hype train was picking up steam, and then yesterday it jumped the rails and it smashed into the valley down below after Arizona came into their house and punked them 26-7. Joe Judge got worked by Cliff Kingsbury and company. And it was a reminder that the Giants have been beating up on teams with losing records and a Seahawk team that completely overlooked them. But when you step in and step up against better competition, then you get exposed. And by the way, that wasn't even the best version of Arizona that did them like that in their house. And for all that talk of New York's defense and what they're doing and how dominant they've been, it was Arizona and Hassan Reddick who did the most work yesterday. This guy was insane. He had 5 sacks. 5 sacks and 3 forced fumbles. 5 sacks and 3 forced fumbles in one game. That's a really good season for most guys. And he did it in 60 minutes against the vaunted Giants. And he did it against a Giants offensive line that had been playing pretty well since that coaching fight. The coaching change. Listen, I'm not saying that Joe Judge is a terrible coach. Definitely not. But I'm going to have to see a hell of a lot more before I start crowning him some sort of coaching icon and legend that so many of you have already done. But if there is one legend that I am comfortable crowning right now, it's none other than the legend that is King Henry. After being held in check by the Browns last week, and I've got thoughts on the Browns, after being held in check by them last week, Derrick Henry broke loose against the Jags. That run was part of a 26-carry, 215-yard, 2 TD day. That's his 4th career game with 200-plus yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a new NFL record. And he sat out most of the 4th quarter. If this guy had wanted to, he could have gone for 250 or taken a run at Adrian Peterson's single-game rushing record at 296. Hell, he could have gone for 3 bills. But for a guy who puts up crazy stats, he doesn't really seem to care much about stats. This dude sounds to me like, if I didn't know any better, I'd say that he's pissed off for greatness. But really, he's just pissed off for losing. And they got their asses kicked by the Browns last week. And he was going to make damn sure it did not happen again yesterday. Nothing but respect for the attitude and approach of King Henry. And nothing but respect for the attitude and approach of Brandon McManus. The Broncos kicker had a rough day. He missed a couple of extra points in Denver's win over Carolina. And you know how that goes. You know how it goes in today's game. If you have a rough game on the field, you are going to hear about it on social. And McManus certainly did. I've said it before, time and time again. Twitter can be a dirty, filthy, nasty place. And if you have a bad day, the Twitter gangsters, the keyboard tough guys, they're coming for you. Check out this tweet bashing him. Quote, Brandon McManus sucked today. Now check who tweeted that. At the kid McManus. As in Brandon McManus. As in Brandon McManus tweeted, Brandon McManus sucked today. That's how you own it. That's how you let the world know what you think of how you played. Nobody's going to be a bigger critic of you than yourself, especially if you give yourself a Twitter account and the license to take a run at yourself. You did suck yesterday, Brandon, but I don't need to say it because you said it yourself. That's how you get in front of something. That's how you get out in front of something. And even better, my guy chased it with, quote, oh, snap. I thought that was from my burner account. End quote. Hell yes. Well done, B. Some guys get it. Some guys don't. He definitely does. Big hat tip to at the kid McManus. That's how you do it. All right, other things I want to get to today. You know the Bills get their own take. You know the Bills Mafia gets its own take after last night's performance. I'll ask you right now what I tweeted last night. How y'all living, Bills Mafia? How you all living? We'll get to that a little bit later on. Other topics. Dan Mullen, man. This guy's just acting like an absolute tool. I mean, I don't like to name call, but dude, you're a tool. Stop doing it. Stop doing what you're doing, dude. Monday Night Football. We got ourselves a ball game tonight. America's team going up against the Ravens. If you watched me yesterday on the NFL Today, you know where I come out on the Browns and this matchup, but I'll reset it for you. I may go off the board on this Monday, and if I go off the board, it would be for this. The Hoff going metal. Yes, he did. The question is, we've seen the Hoff go musical before and pull it off, but the Hoff at 68 going metal, can he pull that off? Still ahead, Leonard Hamilton next hour, Pete Thamel next hour. Antoine Bethea coming up in a moment. Quickly as I go to break with some reaction. Dear Jim, I have my calendar marked for February 8th around 11:15 a.m. Central Time when Ida Frady calls your show to wax poetic about the back-to-back champs, Mike and KC. You know, it's kind of unusual, but two of my better friends, and I got to be honest, like, I try to separate my personal relationships from the people that I talk to, from the people I talk about, and yes, even from you clones.